One word, repeated over and over with increasing desperation until it was too late. Stop! 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 An air traffic controller's voice, urgent, then frantic, broadcasting that single word into a radio as a Port Authority fire truck crossed an active runway at LaGuardia Airport. The word came at least 10 times, and then came a sound that witnesses said they won't forget.
What happened at LaGuardia Airport on the night of March 22, 2026, isn't just a breaking news story. It's a case study in how multiple systems, human, mechanical, and organizational, can fail at the exact same moment with devastating consequences. And as of right now, less than 48 hours after the collision, investigators are already on the ground doing the painstaking work of figuring out exactly how that happened. This video is going to walk you through what's confirmed, what remains unknown, and most importantly, what the investigation is actually looking at. Because if you want to understand this event beyond the headlines, you need to understand how aviation safety actually works. And that's a conversation worth having. Let's start with the confirmed timeline. Air Canada Express Flight 8646 was a regularly scheduled international passenger flight operated by Jazz Aviation, Air Canada's regional partner, on behalf of Air Canada Express. The aircraft was a Bombardier CRJ 900LR, registration CGNJZ, a twin-engine regional jet that Jazz Aviation had operated since it was delivered new from the factory in 2005. That makes this particular airframe approximately 20 years old at the time of the accident. Flight 8646 departed Montreal Trudeau International Airport at 10:12 in the evening, Eastern Time, running more than 2 hours behind schedule. The flight was carrying 72 passengers and 4 crew members, a captain, a first officer, and 2 flight attendants. It was bound for LaGuardia Airport in New York City, a journey that under normal conditions takes roughly an hour and a half. The weather was not cooperating. Heavy rain had been moving through the New York area that evening. LaGuardia Airport itself had posted on its social media channels approximately 3 hours before the accident that weather conditions were causing flight disruptions. By the time Flight 8646 was on approach, the airport was reporting mist and fog, with water visibly standing on the tarmac. At approximately 11:40 in the evening, Flight 8646 touched down on runway 4, LaGuardia's primary northeast to southwest runway, and began its rollout. What happened next is the center of the entire investigation. Earlier that same evening, a United Airlines flight, Flight 2384, a Boeing 737 MAX 8 bound for Chicago, had aborted its takeoff from LaGuardia, not once but twice. During the abort, the crew had detected a foul odor in the cabin, and anti-ice warning lights had illuminated. The crew declared an emergency. Standard protocol called for airport rescue and firefighting vehicles, ARFF units, to respond immediately to that aircraft's position on the airfield. So a Port Authority ARFF truck, operated by Sergeant Michael Orsillo and Officer Adrian Baez, was dispatched across the airfield toward the United aircraft. To reach it, the truck needed to cross runway 4. Air traffic control audio captured and released publicly through live ATC confirms that the controller cleared the truck to cross runway 4 at taxiway Delta. The problem was that Flight 8646 was already on that runway, rolling out from its landing. Within seconds, the same controller's voice changes from routine to desperate. You can hear it in the recording. Stop, truck 1, stop. Again, stop, stop, stop. Repeated at least 10 times. But by then, the geometry of a landing aircraft at speed and a large vehicle in its path had already sealed the outcome. The CRJ 900 struck the rear right side of the fire truck. Security camera footage later released from the airport captured the moment of impact. The truck rolled over, the aircraft's forward momentum carried it forward, destroying the cockpit and the forward galley section of the airplane before it came to rest near taxiway Echo. Both pilots were killed at the scene. Captain Antoine Forrest, a native of Coteau-du-Lac, Quebec, who had flown his first aircraft at age 16, and First Officer Mackenzie Gunther. The Federal Aviation Administration later described them as, quote, 2 young men at the start of their careers. 41 additional people were transported to hospitals. 39 from the aircraft, and both officers from the fire truck. As of Monday afternoon, 32 had been released. 9 remained hospitalized with serious injuries. Sergeant Orsillo and Officer Baez both sustained non-life-threatening injuries. One flight attendant, who had been seated in a jump seat just behind the cockpit door, was ejected from the aircraft during the collision. She was found shortly after with injuries and is expected to survive. The passengers who could walk helped each other evacuate down the wing onto the tarmac. One passenger later described hearing the aircraft brake hard on rollout, followed by an explosion of force that threw people against their seats. The smell of fuel was in the air. This is what the NTSB walked into at 3:10 Monday morning. And this is what the investigation is actually focusing on, because this is where it gets important for anyone who understands how aviation safety works. There are at least 4 major investigative threads active right now, and they are running simultaneously. The first is air traffic control staffing and workload. It has been confirmed that at the time of this collision, a single air traffic controller at LaGuardia was handling both ground control and tower control, 2 distinct operational positions that are normally staffed separately. Ground control manages vehicles and aircraft on taxiways. Tower control manages aircraft on the active runway and in the immediate airspace. Combining those 2 responsibilities into a single position isn't unheard of on overnight shifts at lower traffic hours, and 4 commercial pilots speaking to Reuters confirmed it isn't uncommon. But investigators will examine whether that consolidated workload contributed to the coordination breakdown that placed a truck on an active runway while an aircraft was rolling out. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said Monday that LaGuardia has 33 certified controllers and 7 in training against a target of 37. The second thread is the Airport Surface Detection System, known as ASD. This is the ground radar display that shows controllers a real-time picture of every vehicle and aircraft moving on the airport surface. It is effectively a controller's eyes on the field when visibility is limited, and visibility was limited that night. NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy has specifically requested a replay of the ASD display from the moments leading up to the collision. What the controller saw on that screen and how it related to what was actually happening on the runway is a critical question. The third thread is the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder. NTSB investigators physically cut a hole in the roof of the aircraft to access both devices. As of Monday evening, both have been recovered and transported to NTSB laboratories in Washington, D.C. The cockpit voice recorder has been confirmed undamaged. Those recordings will tell investigators exactly what the crew saw, heard, and did in the seconds before impact, including whether any visual cues of the truck were available to them on the runway. The fourth thread is weather and visibility. Heavy rain, mist, and standing water on the tarmac that night all affect not just aircraft braking performance, but visibility from the cockpit and from the control tower. The question of whether the aircraft crew could have detected the truck in time to take evasive action, given runway conditions and approach speed, will be answered in part by the flight data recorder. Flight Radar 24 data indicates the aircraft's ground speed dropped sharply in the area of taxiway echo, the point of impact. Preliminary data on the exact speed at impact is still being verified. This is what a real investigation looks like in its first 24 hours. It is not a press conference. It is not social media speculation. It is methodical, parallel, evidence-driven work that will take months before any final conclusions are reached. NTSB Chair Homendy said it plainly on Monday. We have a lot of data, but the NTSB deals in facts. We don't speculate. We don't take one person at their word. We verify. And that's the standard that should apply to every voice weighing in on this event right now. What we know for certain tonight is this. 2 pilots went to work on a Sunday night. Antoine Forrest, Mackenzie Gunther. They flew a routine route they had likely flown dozens of times, and they didn't come home. Their families are grieving. 72 passengers are processing what it means to have survived something they didn't see coming. And the aviation community is already asking the harder questions, not to assign blame before the evidence supports it, but because that's how this industry has built the safest transportation system in human history. One investigation at a time, one lesson at a time. The runway at LaGuardia where this happened is closed right now while investigators document every tire mark, every debris field, every data point. The work is underway. And when the NTSB publishes its findings, the industry will listen, and flying will be safer because of it. Stay informed, stay sharp, and if this kind of analysis is what you come here for, the next video is already in the works.